Hey, what's going on, Poke Geeks? It's your boy, Poke Geek Dom. We got a top-down video for you today, where I'm gonna go over a graded return for you guys. I know everybody loves seeing what people get back, so I wanted to share with you guys some of the cards that I just got back. And then also afterwards, we're gonna do a fun little, just kind of exercise in what I think was kind of bad thought process on my part when it came to getting these particular cards graded. Some of the decision making that I went through, and I think learning from our mistakes is a big part of any learning experience. And I don't think that I would be, a trustworthy source of information and things like that if I didn't share with you guys, not only when I, hit it big and do really great, but also when I mess up and I make mistakes, because we're all human. We all make mistakes. And so I want to put mine out there. So hopefully some of you guys can learn from the things that I do wrong. So, first of all, the usual drill. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Just helping out the channel any way you can. Sometimes just that like, that comment, whatever it may be, just helps us, jump up in the search engine, and that way more people see the video, more people come along, and I appreciate each and every one of you every time you do that. So thanks a bunch, guys. And, with that, we'll get right into it. And like I said, I don't expect this to be a super long video. We have 8 cards here that I'll go through, and most of them aren't anything really special, and that'll be part of the discussion afterwards, and we'll talk about that. But starting off with the first one, we got a CGC 9 Kyogre, amazing rare. I'll try and get it to where my camera hopefully focuses on Kyogre. Come on, Kyogre. There we go. And Kyogre looks really cool. I really love the art patterns when it comes to the amazing rares. I've talked about that a lot. I love that the amazing rares, you get that, symbol even has like the amazing rare kind of texture. I think that's really cool. But this one got a 9. There was just an 8.5 on the centering, like 9.5 straight across rest. And just a little unfortunate. All these cards are pack fresh, but to get a 9 is not too upsetting. It does happen from time to time. Next up, we got a Yveltal, same set. Going for more amazing rares. Again, love the artwork, love the swirl. If I could get it to focus on it. There we go. Looks really great. Looks amazing. I love the way it looks on a dark Pokemon card too. Same when it comes to the symbols and all that. Dust down here, that's like the shipping dust from the cardboard. But this one, a 9 on centering, 9.5s across, so just slightly better than that Kyogre, good enough to get it a 9.5. Next one, we have the same card, another Yveltal, but this one's a 9, just slightly worse. This one had a 9 on the centering and a 9 on the edges as well, with 9.5 in the middle, just holding it at a 9. So far, 1 of 3 is a 9.5, which is pretty good. Our next one, a Reshiram, same set, another amazing rare. Again, I love the way these artworks look, the kind of sunburst around Reshiram. Just looks really cool. This one, 9.5s across, a 9 on the centering, the exact same as that Yveltal, giving us a 9.5. The next one, this was the pre-release cards for Battle Styles. We have the Octillery here. You can see Octillery in this kind of cool pose, but also with the Battle Styles kind of stamp logo on it as well. I remember when people really thought this card was going to be pivotal with rapid strike cards, and it turned out not to be. But 9 straight across, just a 9.5 on the corners. And that gives us a 9 altogether. And then we'll see this one, Share 'em, from the same set, same pre-release promo. Again, a 9 with 9 straight across and a 9.5 on the edges instead of the corners. What this kind of says to me when I saw both of these pre-release cards both come back with 9s, and they were pretty much straight across 9s, says that most likely these pre-release cards had kind of a bad printing quality if you're getting a 9 straight out of the pack fresh, and it would be different if I saw a 10 or I saw some more 9.5s when it came to the subgrades, but the fact that the subgrades came out almost straight across 9s leads me to believe that they were just poor print quality when it came to those pre-release promos. So if you got some higher grades in those, like a 9. The 9.5s are probably going to be a little more harder to get than these 9s, especially with those subgrades, but to get 10s or even a 10 would probably be worth quite a bit. The next one we have up is Eternatus VMAX. This is the black and gold secret rare from Shining Fates. 9.5s across with a 9 on the centering. I'm seeing a pattern when it comes to Shining Fates. The centering was just a little bit worse than everything else, but as far as the general print quality seemed a-okay if you're mostly getting 9.5s on subgrades for pack fresh cards. So this one I thought was really cool. I have played Eternatus for quite a bit in PTCGO, just with the last couple of Players Cup, so I was kind of happy to get that card graded regardless. And then the next one, our last one, is the Shiny Lapras VMAX from Shining Fates. He got a 9.5. One of our only cards that actually got some 10 subgrades, 10 on the corners, 10 on the edges, but a 9 on the surface pulled us down to a 9.5. That surface was just a little bit better, and maybe the centering a little bit better, we might have pulled a 10 out of this card. But needless to say, one of the best, Shiny VMAXs from the Shining Fates set, so I was happy to get that one graded as well. Now that we've gone through everything that I had sent off and got back, let's talk about some of the mistakes I made when it comes to this particular submission. Alright, well, number one, a lot of people will probably be surprised when I say this, and this is, probably just flat off the top. Probably the dumber part on my part when it came to getting these graded, but I sent these off express. And, at the time when I sent these, it was, just before April. If you had seen my state of grading video that I released, back in March or maybe late February, I talked about how I thought it was almost imminent that CGC was going to raise prices again. And when April came, that's what they did. So I sent these off shortly before that price increase was actually announced. And, part of what I was looking at is that, the market was still booming. You were still selling a lot of graded cards, regardless of what the card was, for at least, $35-$50. So a lot of these cards, which I thought were cards that people would be really interested in, which honestly, there is still some interest, but we have seen things like the Amazing Rares Raw fall down to almost $1, $2 now from Shining Fates. The biggest thing that I, could have done better is thought harder about whether it was worth it to send these express. And knowing the direction that the market was heading in, everybody knowing that, a drawback was almost imminent, I should have thought harder on that. I should have, at the very most, sent these standard and saved myself some money, saved myself some margin, to where, now I'm looking at the possibility of maybe losing a little bit of money, maybe, gaining a little bit of money, maybe just breaking even. But I'm definitely not going to be making quite as much as I had thought I was going to make when I sent these off. Now, we talked about sending it standard instead of express. That could have been done better, and that probably would have helped me quite a bit. But also, when it comes to these cards and talking about, the amazing rares, and even just, like this shiny Lapras VMAX, which I think will be one of the big cards from that particular set years down the road. But, there needs to be more weight in my analysis when it comes to the supply of particular cards. That was part of my process, but I don't think that I spent enough time researching and giving, kind of credence to the amount of supply that would be out there for Shining Fates. I thought that we were still going to be in kind of this, supply no man's land where getting product was almost impossible, and we would see a lot of these cards stay artificially inflated because of that. Well, when supply began to catch back up with Shining Fates as more and more waves came out, you saw these cards go down and down and down as more and more supply got out there. Not to mention that Shining Fates was just a really hype set, so a lot of it got opened. And that's where a lot of the supply of those cards is coming from. So I should have spent more time researching that. It's easy to say in hindsight that I see that now, but that came with a few more months experience after having these sit at CGC and then finally come back, and then by then your lesson is learned, but you've already spent the money. I think that kind of goes to really my last point about what I could have done a little better, and that is, as the market was starting to shift, we were starting to, just put it out there in the ether. Everyone was starting to realize that, yes, this, downturn, or, in my eyes, a correction was coming. You can't just keep the status quo. You can't just keep doing what you're doing when the market shifts and thinks that it's going to just keep working. A lot of people for a long time, throughout this past year and a half, 2 years, were grading cards that have no business being graded, like, Red Cheeks Pikachus that end up being $200 and stuff like that. Like, those really aren't super rare cards. There's tons of supply out there, but most of all, the market was due for a correction or a downturn. I should have, realized that it was time to adjust, that, at the very least, I should have taken a step back, taken a moment, and kind of reevaluated, what my stance was going to be on, what to buy, what to sell, what was worthy of being graded based on these new prices, things like that. A lot of things that I've spent a lot of time analyzing over the last couple of months. So I feel more secure in the fact that I, did learn a lesson from this. Even if I lose a little bit of money or break even or make a little bit of money, I think all of those are still good results. When you make a mistake, you can take the opportunity to learn from that mistake and then possibly not lose your shirt at the same time. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I hope that I brought you some good information here, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes and not make them yourself, so you keep more of your money in your pocket. But as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and the usual drill. Stay geeky.